All right. Damn. Should be good here. Just give me a second, guys. Gonna quickly upload this. Know if you guys can hear me loud and clear, and then we should be good to go. Okay. All right. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Share this. Hello, hello. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to share this at the same time. Give me a minute. Okay, there we go. All right. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so just wanted to kind of give you guys a quick little update in terms of the market, kind of collect everyone's thoughts and where we're at currently, because I know a lot of people are looking at this and wondering what exactly is next for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. But I wanted to quickly touch base on Bitcoin first and just kind of explain the price action and what we're seeing and what to expect for the next few days. Now, looking at the daily time frame, this is something that I've been talking about for the past few days. You can see that we have not yet tested our exponential moving averages. Personally, I wanted to see the 72.3 region break and then, of course, at least test into the 73.7. Now, once again, the 73.7 level was very important because that is the Trump candle. When we actually broke that structure, you can see that's where we saw the capitulation towards the downside. But now what I want to see is that same level being used as resistance or a breakout. That's going to be the deciding factor right there in whether or not we are bullish short term or, of course, bearish short term. If, of course, the price action comes back like this, hits that level and rejects, then we know that we are expecting further downside, possibly all the way back into the 54 or 52K region for Bitcoin. But of course, if we can somehow manage to break above that level and retest as support, we have a very nice W formation looking to play out. Now with W formations, of course, we tend to see another continuation downwards and then something like this. But the W formation basically ends at the top of the move set. So for people that are wondering where exactly we're looking for a possible exit, or of course where exactly they can start looking to exit their spot positions, of course assuming that you entered the spot position all the way down at 59K, that would be a good take profit area right around the 77 to 76K region at the top of the move set. That wouldn't be a bad zone because again, we don't have further confirmations after that. Remember what I taught you guys, we're trading with the trend, but we're trading with what we know. If we look at the daily and you notice where the 20 exponential moving average is as of now, it is exactly on the 76K. If you guys remember what I've taught you from previous times in Telegram as well, is as long as we're trading below the EMAs, we are in a bearish setup. Now, it's not rocket science to see that since Bitcoin lost the structure break above here at 124, and we officially started to use the EMAs as resistance, since then, we've pretty much been in this bearish trend overall, right? So all the way back from October 10th, we've pretty much just been ranging towards the downside. Even if you want to exclude October 10th on that drop and just assume everything else, you can see that the EMAs flipped to resistance, and before they were being used as support. So if you look here on the daily structure here, you can see we pretty much all the way towards the upside, we were using them as support, consolidated, using them as support. But now we have a very clear rejection formation happening, very clear, precise price action here, where the exponential moving averages, the yellow and white line, are being used as resistance. This is why I keep telling you guys that I'm not really looking for long positions as of now for swing positions or massive buy opportunities. Instead, all I'm really looking forward is to see how the relief plays out. If, of course, the market in terms of the exponential moving averages rejects, then I know that, hey, further down the line, we may, of course, lose the wick low. But as long as we're trading below them, guys, there's no reason to be bullish. And I'm genuinely being honest with you guys because, again, the trend right now is still down. Yes, we see some relief pump opportunities, but we can still see further downside movements. And this is where it's very important to be patient. I keep telling you guys in Telegram this as well, is guys, be patient with your entries because, again, a lot of people got super greedy right here. And I told you guys this on Sunday as well, is look, you don't want to be the person that enters a resistance level and then holds it. Instead, you want to be the person that plays the wick break enters, exits, and just sits on your hand. And you can see that was the last trade we had in terms of a long. As soon as we broke, we pretty much have not tested the 72.3 level since. And what we need to see is, of course, that level being structured again, or sorry, retested again, in order for us to see that 73.7. Now, that's going to be my main concern, right around 73.7. If, of course, the market can somehow break above that level, we have a clear long position to 76. Gonna make it very simple. That's gonna be the exit for us in terms of the price action. 76 would be our target. Now again, this is the assumption that we break 72.3. That's the only time I would take a long position. Otherwise, I'm not looking for any sort of long positions as of right now, but I'm also not looking for any sort of shorting positions, and I'll explain why. When you're looking for short positions, and you guys know the reason why we caught this whole move set previously is because we were trading the wick lows. Every time the wick low broke, we entered a short. Every time the wick low broke, we entered a short. Every time the break, you get the point. But now, the wick low on Bitcoin is at 59.9. We're trading over at 67. So what I call right now is this is a consolidation zone. When you see the exponential moving averages go from down to sideways, that's usually a no trade zone, because that's the market telling you we don't have a confirmation of where we want to go. The worst thing you can do here is, of course, look for trade opportunities in consolidation and play that 50-50 guessing game. The reason why I don't trade like this is because, again, I'm not looking for that 50-50. I'm looking for the most, in terms of confirmations, the best possible trade where I can enter and, of course, exit and profit. I don't like trading range setups like this because, to me, looking at this, I can't be a crystal ball guru and be like, oh yeah, so, you know, on February 13th at 6 p.m., we're going to see a massive nuke, right? That's not how we trade. We actually just wait for confirmations and trade on price action based on the wick low. So what I'm looking for right now in order for Bitcoin is simply just a wick low break right here. If, of course, Bitcoin does end up breaking that level. So now let's talk about the worst case scenario, right? Because I know a lot of people are wondering, okay, well, what is the worst possible case scenario? And I know I talked about this, and we did end up hitting the worst case scenario at 59. But now what happens is, what happens if 59 happens? What happens if we break 59, right? That's the question now in terms of the weekly. What is next for Bitcoin in that price action? All we really need to do is look at previous price here. You can see the last time Bitcoin broke below 59, we had a very clear wick opportunity. Not one, not two, but 5 opportunities in terms of the 54K region. That's going to be the next level. So right around the 54K. Assuming we end up losing 54 as well, then yes, we could easily see a 49K Bitcoin, because we need to understand a few things. Number one, being back in this price range is not bullish. I talked about this before too. When we were trading back over here in 2023 and then we started ranging, that's when I said, okay guys, this is still a bullish price action thing, because we have, again, broken all-time high. Now we're consolidating right between the previous all-time high. That's what we're looking for. We wanted to see a structure break. Then, of course, Trump won presidency, and that's where we saw the mega candle on Bitcoin, right? So this consolidation was bullish. But the problem now is the consolidation we're seeing is not bullish, right? Because we're back in the same range. The market doesn't just go back to where it ranged for the past few weeks and then say, oh, okay, cool, we're back here again. Let's go ahead and, range again. It doesn't make sense like that, right? Realistically, what happens is if the market ends up back in a range, it usually means that we're expecting lower conditions. But everything is dependent on 59K. If, of course, that level is lost, then yes, put in your charts and the assumption that realistically our main target would be 54. In order for us to see a capitulation, so a capitulation again was like what we saw previously on last Thursday, was that massive nuke formation where everyone was trying to guess where exactly we're going to continue dropping. At the worst possible condition, once again, the worst possible condition in terms of Bitcoin would be 47.8. It's not just a random number, okay? Just like on Solana when I said 67.5, and I will talk about Solana in a minute, but the reason why I'm going with that level is because of what happened here. When we originally had Bitcoin break from the bear market, when we originally broke the range on Bitcoin, the strong rejection remained to be at 47.8. That was a strong rejection with the bearish engulfing. So that's where we know that the market rejected that level, right? That's where we know that there was strong pressure. The difference is, though, if you look at when we actually broke above that level, look what happened on Bitcoin. We actually retested as support, and then we continued pushing higher. We never came back to that level after the first retest, right? We pretty much continued pushing all the way towards the upside. That is going to be the worst possible case. And even if you look at the liquidation here back in August of 2024, still no retest on 47. That is going to be my worst case scenario on Bitcoin, is going to be the 47.8 level. If that level structure doesn't end up breaking in regards to 59K and of course 54K, then that would be the worst possible condition, right? So again, I'm talking worst. Like, I'm not saying it's going there. I'm saying worst condition, because we need to understand a few things. Just like on Solana, when we were trading at $100, I made the same live stream and the same video, and I said, look, if we're looking at Solana and we end up losing 100, at the worst possible case, we are going to hit 67. Because I did the same thing I just did with Bitcoin. I went back on the previous chart and I said, where did Solana reject hard? Right here. Do you see this? 67 was a strong resistance and a massive support. So if we were looking at it from a capitulation standpoint, where would Solana bounce? It would be at the exact penny of $67.48. Look at the chart, guys. This was a live trade we did in Telegram, and this was to the exact penny a bounce opportunity. But notice what happened. We did not test that same level in terms of bullish pressure. What I mean by that is, yes, we saw a bulls come in strong, right? We saw a green candle, but we did not break the EMAs. That's not a relief rally, right? That's not what we're looking for. And I talked about this. When you're at a bottom formation, you don't just have a little green candle and then down again, right? What you see is very strong bullish pressure, almost a V-shaped recovery, and then continuation. That's not what we're seeing on Solana right now. So to me, it just simply looks like this was an oversold area. Market came out, bounced, and now we're once again falling back down. Doesn't mean that, again, we're going to go straight to zero here. It simply means that you want to be very cautious when you're looking for long positions, because even if you look at Solana on the 4-hour interval, we still failed to break above the exponential moving averages. Does everyone see this? Look how clean it is, right? Market came down $100, saw a massive rejection. We had a V-shaped possible recovery, but once again, look how many times we rejected the exponential moving averages. And now, when you have that many rejections and look at the support being tested once again, what is more than likely to happen? We tend to see a breakdown formation. So that's why I'm being very cautious in regards to looking for spot positions or long positions right now. I would rather wait for a long position and have that clear confirmation than enter here. And I'm making it very simple, right? We're not trading consolidation. We're simply just waiting for the wick low break. If Solana loses 67, I'm shorting it down to 48. That's it. Very simple. There's no emotions here. Look at my chart. Why is there such a massive massive gap here on Solana, right? It's because there's no resistance or support in this range. Just like the same gap formation I had at 100, if we lost 100, 79, if we lost 79, 67, these gaps are there for a reason. It's not that I couldn't draw support levels or I couldn't find any support levels to draw. It's because these levels are weekly levels. So I know that, hey, if we end up losing weekly support, more than likely we end up seeing capitulation. And as you can see from my Solana chart, as we zoom up, there is more and more resistance levels, right? It's much easier to trade up there than it is over here. And that's why I tell you guys, the moves are going to be larger on the way towards the downside than it was on the way towards the upside, is because, again, when you're on the upside swing, you're hitting the same resistance levels again. When you're on a downwards trend, though, everyone is, in regards to those swing traders, all of those liquidations happen at a larger scale. So that's why you want to be very cautious getting caught out in a long position versus just being in and out of the market. There should be absolutely zero excuses in here of saying, oh yeah, but you know, scalping this and scalping that, and you know, the fees are too high. Realistically, guys, I've said this multiple times, you're welcome to trade on any exchange you want, but blowfin fees are extremely cheap. There's no reason why any of you people are swinging. And what I mean by that is no one should be in a swing trade, period. And I genuinely mean that, because the conditions are not there right now. There really isn't. I will be the first one to tell you guys, we're looking for swing positions on Bitcoin. There's no reason to be in a swing position as of right now, because nobody knows where the low is going to be. Even if we look at it from this perspective, 59 was the local low, sure. But guys, look, there was no bullish pressure, right? We saw a nice green candle, but why did we not break above the EMAs? This is something that I sit here all day long and I watch and I say, okay, cool. We had a green candle, but we didn't break the EMA. So in my head, I'm still bearish. That's all it really comes down to. Once we break above those levels, then yeah, go ahead, do whatever you want, you know, go ahead. but right now is not the conditions for us to be looking for long positions. And for those wondering in terms of my spot positions, I already told you guys this many times. If I'm bearish on Bitcoin, then I'm bearish on everything, right? It goes. It's not like one special coin is going to make its way towards the sky. No, everything is going to continue dropping. So again, that answers your question. Solana, Doge, Pengu, everything is getting decimated, right? But when you're looking at it from a long-term perspective, and what I mean long-term is maybe possibly 3 to 4 years, buying these coins at this price and holding, if you're comfortable with that, then great. Enter 30% here. Wait for the market to decide where it wants to go. And that's pretty much how you trade these massive swing positions in spot. In regards to leverage, nobody should be in a swing position, period. Because again, we have no confirmations. What I'm looking for is to see whether or not the wick low is lost. If we lose the wick low on Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, I remind you, we will see a 47.8K Bitcoin in regards to capitulation. But my best hope, and again, I want to end the stream here soon, but my best hope is the fact that we at least before that happens, at least test the exponential moving averages. Because to me, I'm much more comfortable looking for a short position up here in regards to the EMAs being tested versus not testing and then another capitulation. That's not what I want to see. What I want to see is the bulls actually come in strong, hit those exponential moving averages, and whether they break, awesome, but if they reject, then we know as bears that, hey, the worst possible thing has already been done. The worst possible case in regards to a fake out or, a bull trap or anything like that has already been done. Now we can just look for those short setups. And that's all I'm waiting for. That's the reason why I've been so quiet in Telegram, is because I don't want you guys to trade this, right? I don't want anyone to trade this because, again, this is not something you want to trade. Look at, and just in regards to the chop, it's extremely choppy. You are much better just waiting for clear confirmations. But again, worst case scenario, if we lose the wick low, you know what to be prepared for. But I'm hoping that we at least see a breakout. Now, good news here real quick before we end the stream. If you notice on the 4-hour chart, look at the current 4-hour interval, right? So as of now, we have already tested this range twice. So this is the only good thing we really have going for us as of now. We've already tested this range twice. This would now become the third test opportunity. And of course, on third test opportunities, we tend to see a large squeeze. So if we do somehow break above the EMAs and retest them as support in Asia hours or tomorrow or the next day, then we have a very nice long position. Again, not a swing position, a small scalp position into the first level of 73. And then of course, 76, which also lines up perfectly with the daily exponential moving average over at 76. Once the 76 level hits, we are exiting that trade. I really don't care if it goes to 77, 79, 81, because at that point we can enter other trades. I'm not looking to hold that trade, but what I do know is that when you've already tested the level twice and you end up hitting that third test, it tends to be a large squeeze. If of course that doesn't happen and we continue to reject, then cool, we're just gonna watch this free fall happen until we lose the wick low. Very simple. Does that make sense? All we're really going to do is just simply wait for the wick low and enter and exit from there. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, in regards to spot positions, I'm not touching mine. I've already sold a lot of mine when we were at 115 when I said look to take profits. But I do hold spot positions still. But the reason why I don't update them is because, again, if I'm bearish on Bitcoin, what am I going to update, right? It really doesn't make sense to update those. So as long as Bitcoin continues to drop, so will those spot positions. But you need to decide whether or not you can hold for 3 years, or of course you want to cut those positions, do whatever you want. It doesn't matter to me because I'm one of those people that does hold, right? You guys remember with a lot of my coins back in 2022, 2023 when this Telegram was there, I was talking about those tokens and I was saying, look, I'm willing to hold these for 3 years, and I did, right? And you guys saw, I do hold a lot of my things that I buy. It's just because when I buy it as a spot position, I automatically assume it's at zero. And it's very easy to be disconnected like that. Then you're not basically looking at the chart every 5 minutes. And if you are, then you're over invested. That's really what it comes down to. So I'll leave you guys with that. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's clear and concise. I will make another chart update in regards to Telegram. If you guys are new, the Telegram is absolutely free. I will go ahead and link it for you guys. You guys are welcome to join. Again, there's no course. There's no signal chat, anything like that. I will update the charts later tonight once we see some confirmations. It's been extremely boring as for me. But, you know, I'd rather, like I said, I'd rather us be bored than us getting liquidated. So I'll continue to monitor the charts for you guys. And again, if I see a trade setup, we will go ahead and go from there. But in regards to anything else, please don't message me and ask me if there's any trades. Please don't ask me, don't bother me. Because again, like, you guys need to understand, I'm responsible for about 3,000 people. It's very, like I said, it's a lot of pressure. But the reason why I enjoy doing this is because, again, I wait for the setups to come to me and then I'll send them. If you message me saying, can we do this? Can you look at that? Can you look at this? And you don't get a reply, that's the reason why, is because I'm not putting my mental capacity towards a random trade that I know is probably not going to end well. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. And yeah, have a good day. Bye-bye.